Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to our session this evening. I'm just going to change my view so that I can actually see all of you. If you're here and if you've got the ability to put your camera on, please do so. I love to see who I am speaking to. Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to our session tonight. My name is Claire and I am operations director for the Journey. I came to the Journey back in the late 1990s, so a long, long time ago. I did my first Journey intensive and fell in love with the work and have been with the company since early 2000. So I'm thrilled to be here to welcome you tonight and share a little bit about my experience. I'll share that a bit later, but also just to be with you. And just to let you know, our session tonight is we want more from life. So what is in the way of that? What is holding us back? And Brandon has designed a very, very beautiful session for us this evening. For those of you who know Brandon, you'll know it's experiential. For those who don't know her yet, you will be undergoing some process work. You'll be undergoing some introspection. So I hope that you've brought pen and paper and you're ready to undergo the work yourself this evening. So as I said, some of you may be new to the Journey. Some of you may have not met Brandon or any of us before. So a sincere, heartfelt welcome to all of you. Also in the room with us tonight, we've got many people who have either undergone the Journey Intensive, but also some people who have done our whole practitioner program. So we'll be asking them to share a little bit with you later about their experience of this work directly. And I'm just having a look in the chat, and we've got people from all around the world. So if you haven't already shared where you're from, just say hello in the chat box there and just let us know. We've got people from Germany, which reminds me to let you know we've got simultaneous translation. So if you need translation, I think there's a button at the bottom that says interpretation. You'll find it, just click on that and you'll be able to listen to it in German language. We've got people from Turkey, from Sweden, it's going very fast now, Croatia, USA, amazing. I saw Brazil earlier on, Sweden, UK, Ibiza, Spain. I'm in Spain too. Hello to South Africa. I saw the Netherlands earlier on. So a heartfelt welcome to all of you. Norway, great Scandinavians, Finland, Ireland, originally from America. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We really are a global community here. Switzerland, thank you. Beautiful. So, as I mentioned, our theme here tonight is we want more from life. What's in the way? And many of you wrote back, letting us know what is the one thing that is holding you back. If you could name one thing, many of you wrote back and just answered that question. And I read through them today very quickly, kind of scanned them all and really sat with it a little bit, because it really seems like many of you actually know what you want. You're very clear on what you want from life. You're very it's very clear to you. But what's holding you back may be lack of energy or just something that feels like it's blocking you. So it's not that the vision isn't there, the vision is there, but there's something that's standing in the way. And that's what's so amazing about this session is Brandon doesn't just speak and talk about something. She doesn't just teach you. She's actually going to take you through some ways to identify those blocks, some ways to just bring those to the surface. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how to go about clearing those blocks. So I'll be joining you back at the end just to talk a little bit about how to continue from this evening. But I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to hand you over to the real master, Brandon Bayes, who has been an international bestseller of the Journey book and has been in the emotional health and healing field for over 30 years. A phenomenal lady who I feel very blessed to know and have worked with for many, many of those years. So Brandon, over to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you ever so much, Claire, and a heartfelt welcome to everyone that's here and a namaste. And I'm always so thrilled to hear where we're calling in from, that it may be that we're from so many different cultures and backgrounds, and yet we all have the same calling to really let our own divine potential be realized and be fulfilled and to live what it is our prayer is for our life. And yet, as Claire so beautifully shared, so often we feel that we have this potential, and yet something seems to shut us down just when our potential is coming out. And it's not even that it's something mental, like some thought that is happening. It's like an involuntary knee-jerk reaction. So that it's like you have a glass ceiling. And it could be in the area of finances where you feel you really want to break through that ceiling. And no matter what you do, it always ends up staying right there. Or you could be in relationship and you know it's going to get to this point where you start getting very close and things start getting deep and intimate. And you know it's going to happen, but you can't stop yourself. And you watch yourself as you end up exploding the relationship. And you watch the love of your life walking out of your life. And it can be in other fields like sports and where you're really a good golfer. And yet something happens to you on that last putt where you start swinging through and you know it's going to happen. And just as you swing through, and that's the winning shot, something jerks and you blow it and you lose the game. And it's almost like we know that there's the potential there, but something, and these somethings, these blocks, I call them silent saboteurs. And they're stored actually inside of our body. You know, I was on a conference, an international conference yesterday, and there was one man who was sharing that the oddest thing happened. When he was 8 years old, he was really good. He's a Canadian, and he was great at hockey, ice hockey, which is a greatly loved sport in Canada. But his father was always driving him to be the best, and he really had to get it right. And he'd shot 2 goals, which was pretty great. And they were in the car coming home from ice hockey. And he said to his dad, "Dad, is there any time that ice hockey is allowed to be fun?" And his father didn't say anything, but flew into a rage when he got home and ended up throwing him against the wall and was quite brutally violent with him. And his father was determined that he was going to succeed, and it's not about fun. And the man said, and he was in his 50s, and he says, I'm a successful electrical engineer. He said, but I just want to have fun. I like this subject, and I don't know how to have fun. And he said, I've done so much work on myself, and it's like something stops me from being allowed to have fun in every area of my life. And what he didn't know, but what we're going to learn about tonight to a certain degree, is that science tells us that when we are at a peak of a strong experience, now he wanted as a kid just to have fun, to let go, let himself loose, and his father raged at him and grew violent. Now, what happens when we're at the peak of the experience? And of course, in that violence coming his way, something goes into shock. It goes into shutdown. And when we're at a peak of an emotional experience and we shut down, a biochemistry gets released into our bloodstream, which will go to certain cell receptors and block those cell receptors, rendering the cells incapable of communicating with the rest of the cells in the body. And if over time illness happens, it usually happens in the part of the body where the cells are blocked. And what science says is that once we've had this trauma, and most recent science will tell us that if you've had between 4 and 6 experiences of trauma, which can be anything from you were abandoned or you were neglected or your boss yelled at you, or obviously physical, sexual, verbal, mental abuse, and on. But it is a moment where you actually freeze. And you know how it is when you go into shock, you freeze, your boss yells at you and you freeze. That's when that biochemistry is released. And it goes into certain cellular locations and it gets stored there. And before that cell generation dies, it passes on its programming, its consciousness, all that stored pain, the beliefs that you have, the cell memory itself gets passed on to the next cell generation. And so this programming gets passed on from one cell generation to the next to the next. And so here he is, this man is 50 years old, and he wants to have fun, but he gets an involuntary knee-jerk reaction that anytime that comes up for him, his whole body shuts down because the programming stored in there. So it's not just your beliefs. Yes, they are connected to these cell memories, but it's the actual cell memories themselves. And what the journey allows us to do is to go on a journey inside our bodies, get access to these cell memories, and not only uncover what's stored inside the body, what that programming is, that you uncover the whole cell memory and you go through a deep process of release and letting go and ultimately understanding and forgiveness, so that when the new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. So that programming is no longer passed on to the next cell generation, and the cells can finally heal. And so this is what the journey allows you to do. And so we, all of us, have these silent saboteurs stored inside of us. Now, for you, it may not be fun, but you may feel that you really want to succeed at work. And yet something took place in your life where you really thought your potential was coming out, and someone said something, someone did something, some circumstance took place where you were shut down. And that programming then got stored inside the body. And so tonight, what my prayer is that we begin to undergo an exploration of some of these silent saboteurs, to uncover some of the beliefs that are connected to these cell memories inside. Now, I can't take you through the whole journey. I mean, that requires a 2-day immersive journey intensive for you to really dive in and learn how to do this work and to really experience the whole journey process. But what I can do is we can open up the doors so you can begin to clear some of those beliefs and open into your own true potential, into your infinite potential. And so if I had to describe in a nutshell, it's sort of in a metaphor, what is the journey really? Here, let me have a little sip of water. I just came back from India, and we're temporarily in our builder's home, so that because our own home is being built here, and it's under construction, and they have cement dust, plaster dust is thick in the air. So I keep getting these tickles in my throat. And so anyway, that's what the coughing's about. And let me take one more sip. I put some honey in this water. So if I had to say, in a nutshell, what is the journey? The best way I could describe it is to say that we, all of us, come into this world as this radiant, shining presence of love. An enlightened awareness, a presence of oneness, where we feel ourselves to be part of and in everything. As a matter of fact, we feel so one, like a field of presence, of awareness, that when Mother's hand comes before our eyes, we actually experience Mother's hand as being part of ourselves. That's how vast this infinite field of enlightened awareness is. But unfortunately, through the course of life's pains and trials, this radiant love, this peace, this freedom that you came in as, that is your own divine potential, that is your essence, it gets covered over with a series of shutdowns, of limitations, of blocks. And it can be something simple, like you're 3 years old and you're crying about something, and your mother says, "Oh, come on, we've got to wipe our tears. We've got to get to nursery school." And the little you gets it. Oh, I'm not allowed to feel, at least not those feelings with the tears. And the first involuntary, automatic shutdown happens. Now, when you start shutting one emotion down, you end up starting to shut down all various kinds of emotions. And I can remember I was about 8 years old, and we were from a very domestically challenged, I grew up in a domestically challenged household where there was definitely physical and verbal abuse and violence going on. And part of the way I used to escape into my fantasy world was I would escape into my children's books. And I loved reading. And of course, when you love something as much as I did, I became a good reader and a good speller. And at the age of 8 years old, I was asked by our school, our elementary school, in the third grade, to represent our school in a county-wide spelling bee, a contest. And all the different schools from the county were coming together, all the parents, the children, the students, the teachers. And so we were in this big stadium, and I was standing there representing the third graders in our school. And I'll never forget this moment. I'd already spelled 3 difficult words. And then they gave me one of the easiest words in the English language, the word fleet. But I'd never seen the word fleet in any of my children's books. But I had seen the word flea, an insect. And I stood there and said, E-A-T? And the whole audience was hushed. And all at once, it erupted into laughter. Now, no one had given me a manual. How do you deal with all your friends and colleagues and all the parents and teachers? Everyone you know is there laughing at you. No one gave me a manual how to deal with that kind of humiliation. And I looked to my mom, who was in the third row, and she looked at me as if I was the greatest disappointment in her life. And she just shook her head and went, and internally, it was like this wall just came slamming down inside of me. And I found myself retreating to the back of the room to go sit with all the other losers. And that day, I decided I'm just so stupid. I'm just a laughingstock. I'll never be good at anything. I'm just a laughable person. I'll never succeed in life. And it's like this. You have a shutdown, but attached to that shutdown are these negative beliefs. I can remember I was 16 years old and I had my first crush. And I tried to impress him. And you know what it's like when you try to impress somebody. And I found myself making an absolute fool of myself. And I watched the first love in my life, run. He literally ran out of my life. And I was running after him. And that day I decided I'm just so unattractive. I'm just not worthy of love. I'll never attract someone I'm attracted to. And it's like this. I shut down, but what got stored inside, I'm not worthy of love. I won't ever attract anyone that I'm attracted to. And it's like this. We have layer upon layer upon layer of these mini traumas and shutdowns. And then when we get to be adults, we cover this whole mess over with a polished veneer that we present to the world. And then we wonder why it is that when we present this mask to the world, why it is that everyone thinks we're so full of and you can finish that sentence. And then if you get to be very lucky, as I've been more lucky than I can thank life, grace, God for, life gives you a wake-up call. Now, these wake-up calls can come in so many forms: a loss of a job, a loss of a loved one. It can be in the form of a divorce happening, a COVID lockdown happening, where for a moment you end up cracking through this phony mask that you've been presenting to the world. And spontaneously, you end up opening down through the layers of the lies, the pain, the shutdowns. And spontaneously, unexpectedly, you end up opening into this vast field of love, of peace, of oneness. And you realize it's been there all along. Only like me, you bought into all the layers that covered it. And then if you are really lucky, you so fall in love with this presence that is your essence, that like me, you're willing to do anything to clear whatever blocks you, whatever shuts you down, whatever holds you back in any area of your life, so that this radiant love that is yourself can wholly live your life. And so if I had to say, what is the journey? It's about getting real. It's about taking off this phony mask. It's about opening down through the layers of the lies, the limitations, the shutdowns, opening into that infinite intelligence, into the vast field of love that is your essence. And it's at that deepest level, at the level of the soul, that you turn the flashlight on. And you go on a journey guided by your soul inside your body. And you end up uncovering these cell memories in certain parts of your body. And you end up not only uncovering what's stored there in a very real way, but releasing it, letting it go, understanding, ultimately forgiving. And something happens when you forgive. That's when you let go of your whole story of pain. And you're saying to life and to your body, I'm willing to finish with this story of pain. So that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness, as new regenerative cells. So in a nutshell, that is what the journey is. Now, I'm sure that some of you can relate to the kinds of blocks that you've encountered. Now, if you're a writer, you've heard of such a thing as writer's block, where you can be writing prolifically, and then suddenly you write one word and something about it doesn't look right, and you're blocked. Can't write again. Same thing happens with painting, with painters who are just painting, inspired, and fully just giving themselves in the work. Something doesn't look right. Put a new blank canvas, suddenly they can't paint. Now, this happens in every area of our life, where that just when our potential is coming out, something shuts us down. And so tonight, even though we can't go after the actual cell memories, we can begin to uncover some of the beliefs that are stored there in those cell memories and go through a deep process of letting go and opening through the layers of belief into this infinite intelligence, into the love that is your essence. And from there, be guided by your own soul to where the next place in your journey is. So I'd like for us to do what I call a divine experiment here, an exploration that just play along and see what happens. So if you would, get out your pen and paper or pencils and papers, And let's just explore. And let's take a nice deep breath in, letting it out, and closing your eyes. And as Claire was saying, so many of you have already envisioned and have a clear vision for what you'd most love to have happen in your relationships, in your job, in your finances and health. And yet many of us, we don't even dare to put out a prayer anymore because we've written down our goals and on New Year's Day, written down everything that we want to achieve that year and stuck it into a drawer somewhere. And a year later, we take it out and, we see, okay, a couple of those things happened, but actually most of them did not. And you may have wondered, why is that? Why, when I have so much passion, why, when I have a really clear vision and I'm really putting out with all my love for this to take place in my life, what is it that's shutting me down? So first of all, let us just open with imagining in your mind's eye, if you could have the highest and best and could envision right now how you would like your relationships to be. And you might even just pick a specific one with a partner or family member or a friend, but how you would like that to feel, what it would be like if you could have the highest and best in that area of your life. And just envisioning that right now. And then picturing right now your job. And if you could really pursue your greatest passion in life in terms of your job or your vocation, what you really want to experience in your job, how you want to feel, how you want to be potentialized, what it would be the perfect envisioned experience for you in your job situation, whatever that is. Just envisioning that, the kind of people you would like to be surrounded by, how you want to feel at work, how you want to feel challenged in your creativity and fulfilled in your work. And just really envisioning that. And now envisioning your own health and well-being and how you would like your body to feel, what kind of vibrancy and what kinds of foods you would eat and how you would work out and what you would do to caretake your body and keep a vibrant, healthy lifestyle. And just envisioning what that would look like. And just picturing that, okay? And now, in your finances, very often in our finances, we hit the ceiling. But if somehow that glass ceiling were removed now, what's your prayer for your finances? How do you envision your finances to be? What would be your highest vision for that area of your life? And just envisioning that, what it would feel like, look like, be like. And also your creativity. All of us came in with certain talents and skills, be it writing or presenting. Perhaps it's dancing, singing, a musical instrument. Perhaps it's in IT. We're incredibly great at computer programming or working with AI or whatever the area is where your creativity is expressed. Could be painting, could be sports even. But pick an area of creativity in your life and what's your highest vision? Just really imagining that for that area of creativity in your life. And so we have all of our life a vision, a picture of how we want to feel in relationship, how we want to be in our jobs, how we want to be in our finances and our creativity and sport, how we want our bodies to feel. And we have this incredible vision. And imagine, what if this vision were to become manifest right now? What if this vision were absolutely to become manifest right now? And ask yourself, what are my real beliefs around my ability to manifest this vision? And I'm going to give you some questions, and you can softly open your eyes right now and begin writing down on that piece of paper, what are your real beliefs about your ability to manifest this vision? What are your beliefs around your own competence, your own skill, around your own intelligence? All of these that make you able to manifest. Even about your energy levels. What are your real beliefs around your ability to manifest this vision? And just, write down like you're a scribe. You're just lickety-split, just letting them fall onto a page. Now asking a different question. What do I fear might happen if this vision manifested itself? What do I fear might happen to my family, to my relationships, and to my body if this vision manifested itself? What are my fears around this manifesting? Just write down. And maybe you don't have fears about this manifesting, but what are your beliefs around your ability to maintain this vision over time? That you have this great vision, but what is your belief around your ability to maintain this vision, to keep it going? Energy-wise, time-wise, family-wise, job-wise. What are your real beliefs about your ability to maintain that vision? Just write those down. Just lickety-split whatever comes up. Even if they're old dinosaur beliefs that you don't believe anymore, get them up and out of your body right now. How do you feel your friends might respond to you if, in fact, this huge vision manifests itself? How do you feel your friends would feel about you manifesting this massive vision? I know the first time I asked that question myself, I was kind of shocked to realize that I have one friend who would be completely jealous of me and kind of want to sabotage me for manifesting that. But I don't know, you may have friends who don't, who only want the best for you. But write down any fears or beliefs you might have around either your friends, your extended family, your family, that if you manifested this vision, how are they going to feel about you? What are they going to be saying about you? what would have to happen for you energetically, physically, for this energy, with your own energy, for this vision to manifest itself? What are your true beliefs about what might happen what would it take from you to manifest this vision? What are some of the negative beliefs? Just kind of welcome them up. How are others going to feel about you? That you manifested this huge vision. How are they going to feel about you? What are they going to be saying behind your back? Or what do you fear they might be saying behind your back? Sometimes also, when there's a big windfall of some kind, we have a fear that life is going to lower the boom, that something catastrophic is going to happen. Just check your own bodies right now. If you have that stored somewhere, that if something fabulous happens to me, something disastrous will happen to me or my family. Check that out if that's something that's stored there. I've found that to be very common. Ultimately, what do you fear you will feel like at the end of years of having this vision be manifested? I'm just throwing out questions so that it can kind of drive up some of those old fears. Okay. Now you should have a list in front of you of various different beliefs and fears that are there around this particular vision that you've had in your mind manifesting. Some may be strong beliefs, some may be not so strong. And I'd like to ask you, if you find a strong belief, look down through the list of strong beliefs that you've got there and circle the strongest belief on that page, the strongest negative belief that you fear might sabotage you should you manifest this vision. Circle the strongest negative belief that's on that page. And then, if you would, write into the chat box the strongest negative belief that came up for you. So just quickly write into the chat box, just one sentence, my strongest negative belief is la la la, and just whatever it is, just write it into the chat box. And Claire, as they begin writing it into the chat box, I'd like to ask you, if you would, to begin reading out some of the negative beliefs, because as we hear other people's belief, it triggers us to, oh, yes, I recognize that same belief in myself, you know?
Yeah, so something's wrong with me. I'm not allowed happiness. I'm not loving enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I have what it takes. I'll fail. I'll disappear or combust.
Wow.
Humiliation. I don't deserve it. A fear. My strongest negative belief is a fear of confrontation
Wow.
and being alone. Old age kicking in further is another one. And if this came true, someone would kill me as punishment.
This is not an uncommon thing. Often people fear that if this happens, some catastrophe is going to happen. Something will kill a family member because I'm not allowed to have this big, huge windfall of abundance happening. And so something's got to happen, and I might even die, or a loved one might die.
Yeah, feel overwhelmed, not able to keep up with it, not talented enough, anxious, low self-esteem. I don't deserve to have. It won't last.
Right. So we've got here quite a number of negative beliefs. That one, it won't last, is so self-defeating because, why bother if it's not going to last, and I've done all this work to get there, and I've really, used all my energy, my life force, my passion, but it won't last. It can kill the dream before you've even started embarking on it. And in listening to these beliefs, can you already begin to see how they're self-sabotaging, how they're preventing you? And they're probably connected, obviously, to cell memories, as I talked about earlier, to deep experiences that happened, could be from very young age, like me at 8 years old, or this man I spoke to last night who wasn't, having fun equals punishment. He literally had a phobia installed on his body that if I have fun, violence will come my way. So his body said, you're not allowed to have fun. It's never going to happen. You're just going to work hard. That's what you're going to do. And that's what he did. So we've got these negative beliefs and you've circled them. And I'd like to just do a little divine experiment here. So once again, I'm going to ask you just to memorize this negative belief. And now close your eyes again. Close your eyes again. And bring up this negative belief in your awareness. And really open with this negative belief and be aware of how it makes you feel about yourself, about life. And just really allow the full power of that negative belief to be fully present in your awareness. And then asking an innocent question here. If there were an even deeper belief, deeper than that more surface belief, what might that deeper belief be? If there were a deeper belief beneath this more surface belief, what might that deeper belief be? Let it arise in your awareness and then whisper it out loud into your room. And as you whisper it out loud, asking, how does that make me feel? This deeper belief. And now, once again, opening innocently, curiously, asking if there were an even deeper belief in the core of that belief. I wonder, what might that deeper belief be? If there were like a foundational belief that was the basis of all the beliefs that got written down, what might that foundational belief be? And even if you're not sure what it is, what might it be? And whisper that out loud into your room right now. If there were a foundational belief that was holding up all the other beliefs, propping them up, like a little card castle. You have a stack of cards and they've been made into a castle. And there's like this foundational belief that's holding them all up, all the other beliefs. What is that foundational belief? What might it be? And even if you're not sure, what could it be? What might it be? Whisper that out loud into your room. And as if this core belief, this foundational belief that is propping up all the other beliefs, is like this carpet upon which all the other beliefs are resting upon, take hold of this rug and rip it out. Just take hold of this foundational belief and rip it out. And let all the other beliefs cascade, fall down, and be swept out of the room. Just take hold of this foundational belief as if you're pulling the rug out from underneath all the beliefs, and now rip it out. And all the other beliefs are cascading, falling, and let a big wind sweep them out of the room. And then asking, without all of these beliefs, with the foundational belief having been ripped out and swept away, what remains? What is here? And just noticing, what is here? What remains? Without all these beliefs, who are you? What are you? And just feel yourself opening ever deeper into whatever that essence is. Asking, who am I? And feel yourself just resting in this vast field of presence, of awareness. Who are you? What are you? What is here? Feel yourself opening ever deeper into the heart of what's here. Who are you? I'm just resting here, soaking here, steeping in this presence as it, feeling that all of awareness is expanding now, becoming vaster and more spacious in front of you, endlessly boundless behind, infinitely vast to all sides. Just resting here, soaking in this embrace. And taking a nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in and sighing it out, and continuing to rest here. Soak, steep in this presence as it, so that eyes open or eyes closed. Same. And taking another nice deep breath in And letting it out. And when the eyes are ready, you can open them now into this vastness of being. Taking another nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And if the eyes have not yet opened, this is your invitation to open your eyes now. And you can open your eyes now. The eyes will open now. Okay. And just resting here in this presence, that when all beliefs are stripped away, all that remains is your own essence, your own self, this that is who you came in as. And I'd like to invite you just to write into the chat box, what is here when all beliefs have been stripped away? Who are you? What are you? What is this? And just write, one word or two words in the chat box so that we can all share this together. And of course, I'm going to be asking Claire to come and to share what's being shared so that we can all hear, what did you open into when that old belief, that core belief that was holding up all the other beliefs, when it was ripped away and all the beliefs cascaded away and fell away and were swept out of the room, what remained? What is here? And so, Claire, if you would share.
We have some beautiful shares. We have peace, lots of people opening into peace. Abundance, which is beautiful. I am whole. Love, love and peace, pure love, self-worth, greatness, beauty, beautiful. I can't read the German, but I think it might say presence, happy and light, light and free, my innocent child. I am lovable.
These are all expressions of the truth of who you are, of your own essence. And actually, true manifestation rises from here. All creativity springs from here. All manifestation springs from this vast field of love, of peace, of self-worth, of light, of being. So many different words to describe this that is indescribable. This enlightened awareness that is your essence. And in the journey, what happens is once we've opened into this enlightened awareness, into the presence of our own essence, our own soul, we're guided inside the body to specific cellular locations to uncover the actual cell memories that were attached to those beliefs that were let go of, and to really go through a deep, profoundly liberating and healing process of letting go and ultimately forgiveness, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness, devoid of that old programming, devoid of that old pain, as new regenerative cells. And so that old block is no longer with you. And so you're no longer having a knee-jerk reaction, because the knee-jerk reaction, that silent saboteurs that shut you down every time your potential came out, it's been cleared. And so now your body and your being and your heart and your soul are open to allow whatever wants to birth itself through you, birth itself. Now, of course, I would love to take you through that, roll up our sleeves and dive into what takes place at the Journey Intensive, which is a 2-day, deeply immersive retreat where on the first day, in addition to all the teaching that I'm giving, and you'll be going through different introspections and meditations, And you'll be learning not only the science behind why the journey is used in medical hospitals and by medical doctors and psychiatrists and people from all walks of life, but you'll be actually experiencing it. In the afternoon, you'll undergo a one-to-one process with another student there. And you have this incredible embrace of journey practitioners who've been through the whole year-long training and have completed their case studies, and they're there to hold an embrace for you. So if you have a question anytime during all the processing, they will come into your process room and actually support you in having the most profoundly deep and liberating experience. And then on the second day, we go into the physical journey. So the first day is the emotional journey, where we learn how to open into the infinite self and to clear emotional issues. And the second day is the physical journey, where you learn how to go on that journey inside the body. And again, in the afternoon, you're supported to have a deep one-to-one process where you are supported by the journey practitioners so that you have that personal and individual support to have the deepest experience. And there's a third day that you actually can go to, the advanced skills day, where you really learn how to roll up your sleeves and clear out why it is we have these umbilical cords, these energetic ties with people, and how to clear multiple memories, and on and on. Is extraordinary what happens at advanced skills. And you leave with a set of tools so that you can use this in your life, with yourself and with others. And for those of you going to the Abundance Retreat who've already experienced the power of the Journey Intensive, I'll let Claire share with you what takes place at the Conscious Abundance Retreat, where we're really getting to the root of all these silent saboteurs and clearing them on all levels of being, so you leave free to manifest your highest vision for your life. So I'm going to turn you over to Claire, and she can share how you can continue your journey. And I pray that you liberate your life in a heartfelt namaste.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful session. I am certain that people, well, from all of the Source Life experiences that got shared, I know that people had a beautiful experience. So thank you for being here. And yeah, thank you all for being here this evening and for rolling up your sleeves, diving in and participating fully. Thank you for all the shares in the chat. And Brandon's already spoken about the Journey Intensive and described to you. For those of you who haven't come to the Journey Intensive, it is two core days and then a bonus advanced skills day that you are welcome to attend. And any of you who have come to the Journey Intensive before, if you want to share in the chat your experience, your recommendations, would you suggest that people come? Just let them know in the chat here, because I think it's always important to hear from people directly. You know, I know that those of us that work for the Journey, we're very passionate about this work. All of us who work here have been through the whole practitioner program because we've had profound experiences from doing the process work. For me personally, it's been life-changing. I came to a Journey Intensive back in the late 1990s after an ovarian cancer diagnosis, and it really, in so many ways, it explained so much, but more so the experience really shifted a lot in my life, especially then going on to do the full practitioner program. So have a read of what other people are saying in the chat here. And for those of you who have already done a Journey Intensive and are interested in your next step, obviously we've had an abundance theme here this evening, and the abundance isn't just about money, you know, it's really about our self-worth. It's about uncovering those beliefs, not just uncovering them, but really getting to the cellular memories and clearing them out of whatever holds us back, whatever's got the brakes on in our lives. And so the Abundance Retreat is 2.5 days. It's a Friday evening, which is always described as not the prettiest night of our lives, because we go digging. We go digging for all of the ugly things, all the beliefs that are really kind of sticky and unpleasant. But then we spend 2 whole days in clearing them out. All of the Saturday is about clearing them out, both with a journey process that's taught on the Saturday, but many other things. And then the Sunday is really about vision questing. Once we've cleared out all of those beliefs, it's like we're this pure channel of life. And so we really go and uncover, what is grace? What does our life want for us? How do we want to live it, in all fullness, when there's no blocks, no barriers? What's the vision? And I can honestly tell you from firsthand experience, it's life-changing. My world pivoted after that event specifically. Pivoted. Very, very much so. So if you're a journey grad and you're interested in the conscious abundance, please, please, please come. It is life-changing. For those of you who are interested in the Journey Intensive, I just wanted to let you know that we've got a couple of events coming, 3 events coming up soon, actually. The first Journey Intensive is in April, and the dates are going to come up on the screen in a minute, and Olga's going to share some of the links in the chat in a moment. The first Journey Intensive in April is the European Journey Intensive. Thank you, Chris. Here we go. Thank you. So I don't need to remember them either. So the 11th and the 12th of April is our European Journey Intensive. We're going to be offering German translation. So if you need German translation, that's the event to come to. Then we've got one on North American time zone. I've noticed someone in the chat is from Canada. So that's the one that's appropriate for you in the beginning of May. And then we've got the 6th to the 7th of June, which is another European online journey intensive with Czech translation. Okay, so anyone who needs Czech or Slovak translation, that's the one for you. Now, for those of you interested in the Conscious Abundance Retreat, we've got one coming up at the end of this month, the 27th to the 29th of March. And then there's another one a little bit later on in the year. So I really, I mean, the fact that you've come to this shows that you have a desire, you have an interest. I can wholeheartedly tell you these tools are amazing. They've been life-changing for all of us at the journey, for thousands of people around the world. If you've any inkling, any pull, any desire, any resonance, take the step. It is worth it. It's really, really worth it. And as Brandon shared with you at the Journey Intensive, we always get the comments that it is so supported fully. It's not just something that you're taught and left to your own devices. You're really handheld throughout the whole retreat. You're immersed in, uncovering things, you're immersed in the teaching, and we have the journey practitioners there to support you all the way through. So love, love, love to see you there. If you can make it, it would be fantastic. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat and I'll go through them. And also, whilst I am just checking out the chat, just to mention, and Olga has put them in here, the special offers that we have going on for those of you who are here who have come and registered for this event. We've got a coupon code for the Journey Intensive, which takes €100 off. The coupon code is SPRING100 because we're in spring in European hemisphere, at least this hemisphere. So make sure you use that to get €100 off. We've got a Spring 200 code off for the Conscious Abundance to give you €200 off the Abundance Retreat. We just really want to support you in getting to those events. So let me just have a look and see what we've got in the chat. In terms of payments for the Abundance, how much would it be per month with the €200 discount? So I think you'll find that the code for that is a percentage. So if you put the coupon code in on the website and click the tick, it will apply it, and then you'll see how much it takes it down to each month. Okay. And you saw somewhere that if you join the membership, there's an additional discount as well. Not on top of this one, no. It's the same. It's a similar discount, I think, at the moment. They're about the same at the moment. But write to the team, write to support@thejourney.com, and we can clarify that for you. So are there any other questions in the chat, or anyone who'd like to ask a question? You're also welcome to ask in person, as we are here in person. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, Henrietta. Okay, so, oh yes, Ivona, if you'd like to ask your question.
Yes, Yvonne, I like to ask a question. How can we show our gratitude to this wonderful one, not only to Brandon, but to your wonderful team?
Yes.
I did the first one, the intensive, and I thought, oops, 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 oops. But it is wonderful, and I know how it works to feel in happy self. This day, I was here, and exactly the fears in myself. I'm afraid to be smile to a man because I think, oh, you have something for me. Blah, run away. So it is in myself, and I will show up.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
sharing, Ivana, and thank you for reminding me to thank the team. Absolutely. I did not introduce the team at the start, which I forgot to do, so apologies for that. Our team here today is Olga, who is always our logistics angel and posting everything in the chat, making sure you've got the links, making sure everything is taken care of, making sure the translation. She is an absolute angel. And then Chris, who is another magician, we call him. He's on the sound and the tech side of things. Thank you, Chris, for being here. And then tonight we've had Michaela here on the German translation. I can't see her on the screen, but she is here. I know she is. So thank you so much for the whole team for showing up and being here in support. And we really hope to see you soon. So thank you for joining. Thank you for diving in and undergoing this process. And we definitely hope to see you soon. Any questions, write to support@thejourney.com and we'll be on the other end. Thank you so much. And until we see you again.